I was telling all of Facebook 1:30, so as far as they're concerned, we're early.
Okay, well, it gives them time to, shower, get into something more comfortable, pour themselves a drink. It's fine.
Yes, absolutely.
Also, if you'd like to hold off for a half hour, we can do that.
No, we're here. We're live right now. You're so
Oh, cool.
accommodating. Thank you so
I
much.
feel the electricity.
I'm going to do the interview to the show and the nod to my one and only sponsor who's paying for all this. And then I'll get to your intro and we'll do your interview and plugging everything you've done and are going to do. So
Great.
Here we go, Aaron. Strap in for a bumpy ride if I'm at the wheel. Okay.
An exciting ride, Linda. An exciting ride.
Hello, Facebook people. Whether you're watching this live, I'm not going to look at the comments. Let me be clear. I'm old. You're lucky you get to see me at all. You know I'm a little cray-cray. Come on. Anyway, we're here on Comic Spot. And the whole reason that this started was because I'm depressed with the world, the pandemic, and all the bitching going on. And so I wanted to cheer up comedians because we are depressed too. We were depressed before we had Project Head Start, had nothing on us comics, okay? So I'm just making this up right now. This isn't good material, don't steal it. So this is Comic Spot, and it was started to promote comedians so you could get to know them in the comfort of their home without their pants on and know what they're like off stage. So you could say, who's at Jimmy Kimmel's tonight? I remember Aaron Ring when he was on Linda Marcus Smith's Comic Spot, which is hosted by AHA Broadway out of New York City, which offers very low cost training in comedy, stand-up, improv, and acting for children, seniors, and veterans. Hey, does it get any better? I have a paid sponsor. Yeah, go figure. How did the old lady get a paid sponsor? It's called persistence. So if you ever need to bump up your game and get trained by Chris Murphy, who's the headliner, you need to check out ahabroadway.org and get in on some very low cost classes. The veterans get to go for $10 a session. I mean, you can't even get acupuncture for that. Come on, give them a shout out, get a hold of them, thank them for what they're doing in the community for veterans and seniors and children. Come on, be a good person. Anyway, let me get to today. Let me get to present before you go way past tense. Okay. I'm a boomer. All you're going to get is puns when I'm being real. Okay. Aaron Ring in the other circle, square, the other square, the other square, in the other square. Listen, I'm into wordplay. I can't help it. It was a time back then. Okay. Aaron Ring is here, and he just waved at you. He's amazing. You know, if I close my good eye, he looks like Robin Williams. Come on. He's not bad looking, you guys. Aaron Ring, I'm going to read you the intro he sent me. And it's written in the third person. So I don't know. It's going to be third person once removed. Here we go. Aaron Ring co-produces. He co-produces, you guys, and co-hosts. He does two things at once. He must not be old. Co-hosts the Nice Guys Show. So he co-produces and co-hosts a show called the Nice Guys Show twice a month. Nice Guys features New York City's nicest and funniest comics. Isn't that fabulous? I want to hear more about it. In July, he started the Valley of the LOLs show in Greenfield, Massachusetts, to bring more humor to Massachusetts, to their Pioneer Valley, that is. Aaron is also the creator and host, you're gonna love this, of Rampantly's Blue Annex. That's a hit, the Blue Annex. That's a mic, right, Aaron?
It's a lab. It's a kind of a, we can use it as a mic, but I'll explain it as during the interview.
Okay, and if I'd have read ahead of time, I'd have seen that it says it's a free weekly online joke lab, but I didn't. Now it's in its second year. This guy is out there kicking it in the comedy community. Y'all love Rampantly and all the things they offer. Jolie RX, Richard Chasler, Gabe Abelson, everybody's behind it. So y'all need to get behind Aaron Rings. So let's get to know him with or without your pants on. It doesn't matter. Just if you spill popcorn, make sure it's cooled off first. So let's welcome to the stage right now at Comic Spot, the Aaron Ring. Yay! Hi,
Hello.
Aaron.
Hi, Linda.
You
Hi,
made
everyone.
it through
How
my
are you?
Vakakta introduction.
You know what? You use the word fakakta, so I'm happy.
The censors don't know what Vakakta is, so we get away
That's
with
true. Uh-huh.
it. When, like maybe they do, and they're like, it keeps us alive. It keeps, never forget. And they're like, never forget Vakakta?
No.
Never. So Aaron, I could just chat all day, but I want to give you an opportunity to make this about you. So Aaron, let's talk about you. And
Okay.
I would like to, me, I like to dig. I don't try to expose anything. This isn't that kind of an interview show. This is
You
about
can give me
just
some gotcha
getting,
questions. You can incriminate
yeah.
me. That's okay.
Could you please tell all of our millions of followers who you were growing up, when you first entered comedy, and why, who encouraged you? That kind of stuff.
Okay. Growing up, I was a little chubby kid who watched a ton of TV. Very supportive parents, so I guess the TV and my parents always encouraged me to do what I wanted to do. Yeah, I first did stand up in high school. In Boston, I grew up outside Boston. At Next Comedy Stop, the Comedy Connection, and Catch Rising Star in Harvard Square.
Wow.
And it was a lot of fun. But then I took a 30-year break. And I got back to it 3 or 4 years ago.
Super. So in total, how many years have you been grinding, if you put it all together?
I wouldn't call anything I was doing grinding in high school. I didn't even get my first kiss until senior year. But I think I've been taking it fairly seriously for about 3 years.
Super. So who originally encouraged you to be funny growing up? Who was like when was the first time you were funny, and who was the first person that told you you're funny? You're funny.
I have a funny family.
Tell me about your family being funny. I want to hear that.
Well, we grew up watching, and I'm 52, so I grew up, in the 70s and 80s. So I would watch the Tonight Show, Carson, with my mom, and Saturday Night Live, and then Letterman came on and just was everything for me in my teenage years. My mother was a teacher. She was smart, funny, but also goofy, funny. Like she had a very realistic plastic egg that she would keep in the refrigerator, and sometimes she'd open the refrigerator, take it out, and just toss it to a stranger who was visiting. That was a lot of fun.
Practical Joker.
Practical Joker. My family was big on impersonations.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Well, my brother especially is very good at not necessarily doing someone's voice, but getting a tick that they have and building something out of that. So he can recreate like some kind of habit or a tick or some movement or way they
like
not
if somebody
the
goes like
sound of it,
this.
right and exaggerating that and turning that into impersonations.
Wow.
So yeah, I don't know if it was a classic comedy family, but we loved entertainment.
So you remember times when you were funny and you got the payoff of laughs and accolades at a young age?
Probably starting around middle school. I was kind of very small, very shy, chubby, but not fat enough to be noticed. You know? I wasn't really enough of anything to be noticed. So I think I filled space. I started filling spaces I wanted to be in with humor.
Got it. So you go through grade school and high school, and you probably have a natural funny from birth and from being around family. So do you recall people as you were growing up telling you should get into comedy, or my God, you're so funny?
Funny, yes. Not. I mean, I was never. I did school plays in high school. I did some street performing in high school, juggling so far. But I was never.
What kind of street performing?
Juggled. I juggled in high school.
Oh, juggled.
Yeah, and told jokes a little bit in around Faneuil Hall.
Super.
And yeah, I wasn't like a class clown or anything. Mike Birbiglia actually has an old routine about the class clowns are always a little bit cruel, right? And that was never me.
Wow.
And I didn't perform to get crowds. I kind of performed to see an opening in a crowd.
Explain that. Explain that. An opening in a crowd.
Well, you're growing up in the 80s, I guess, before gadgets and things, and little cliques of kids standing around in circles talking.
Got it. Like an icebreaker opening?
Right, and I was always kind of on the outskirts of a circle because, I was smaller than everyone.
You didn't stand out much.
Now, right, I didn't stand out. So, I could create an opening with a line.
What's some of the first funny things you said?
I don't. I don't even remember my stand-up routines from high school. My first memories of material are from college.
Tell me about that.
Well, I was one of the founding members of the Brandeis University sketch comedy group, Boris's Kitchen.
I remember
I-
hearing this before. That is
Yeah.
so amazing. Tell me about it.
Well, I don't know what happened during the pandemic, but fingers crossed they're still around. And if that's the case, they've been around since 1987.
And you started it.
Well, I was one of the people who started it. It actually it started a year or two before I got to college as a Monty Python group, and they would only do Monty Python, like a Monty Python cover group. And I love Monty Python, but I wasn't so into that. And so we decided to start doing original stuff. And we became Boris's Kitchen.
And you became what?
It's called Boris's Kitchen.
And what was that?
There's a guy named Boris, and I guess he had a disgusting kitchen.
And so every premise of everything you did centered around Boris and his kitchen?
No, I've never even met Boris. I think he might have graduated before I even got to college. No, you know, the first sketch I ever contributed to was a Jeopardy themed sketch called Medieval Jeopardy. And it was Jeopardy in the Middle Ages.
In the Middle Ages?
Yeah.
Hilarious. So you've written many of these sketches or performed them or both?
Both. I mean, in my life, I don't know how many comedy sketches I've written.
Me neither, because I haven't written any.
We'll change that.
Yes, I want to write some with you. So do you still write sketches?
I'm starting to again, yeah.
That's wonderful. So that's kind of the root of the start of you've done juggling and telling some jokes.
Yeah.
And then you went to college and you co-founded or helped found this Boris's Kitchen at Brandeis University sketch comedy.
Right. And then I had a sketch comedy group after college, and that was called Mass Astoria.
It's a good name.
Yeah, for a Massachusetts sketch group.
Oh, wow.
We were located in Boston. And then a few years later, I started another sketch group called Bedtime.
And what was that about?
Sketch comedy.
Why did it have the name Bedtime?
Oh, well, we a friend and I were in a theater group, the 42nd Street Workshop. I had dreams of being a playwright, and he too was a writer, producer. Neither of us were very good actors, but we were involved in this actually a very good group. I mean, they're still around. They're the Workshop Theater now, and they had spun off from the new group, which was this vaunted theater group. And at the time, we had a theater on Theater Row, off Broadway, 42nd Street. That's all gone now. But we had a top floor theater with roof access. It was really nice. And so my writing partner Tim and I wanted to do a late night cabaret at the theater. It was kind of an idea just to throw a party, really, and have anybody who wanted to perform. We thought, okay, everybody gets 10 minutes to do whatever they want, anything.
Wow.
And we couldn't sell liquor, but we we gave, we gave free cheap booze, and we had candy, and people could BYOB. And the group liked the idea, and they gave us the key to the theater. So we had it at, after 10 p.m., the building was basically ours.
That's great.
So we did, late night shows. And he and I initially wrote a couple of sketches. And here's what we found. Everybody wanted to come to the party, but nobody wanted to do anything. They just wanted to, hang out and watch. But it was like, we were the Chicken Littles who were baking our bread. So little by little, we just took over the show, and it became our sketch comedy show. And it was called Bedtime. The show was called Bedtime because it was a late night show. And then we kind of outgrew that theater, and we took it around the city.
Oh, you did? How did that go, taking it around the city?
It went well. We were the last act in a bunch of, it was near where a lot of the little black box theaters, like Solo Arts. I don't know if you know the New York off Broadway scene of the late 80s, to the 90s, but
yes,
there were a ton of little black box theaters and really thriving community. And by the late 90s, early 2000s, the real estate prices were going up, and they were being just shut down one after the other. So we were the last sketch group at Solo Arts. We were the house group at the Crane Theater for a while, which is still around. We were the house group at the West Bath Theater, which is no longer still around. I mean, it is as a theater. I think it's a school now. I don't remember, but yeah. And it was a blast, but we were good producers in that we could put on great shows. We get, great directors, great actors. We could put on the show, but we were not good producers in that we were not very good at business.
Get it.
And so we ended on an off-Broadway show it was at West Bath Theater, but they had different theaters in the West Village. And we did, a 300-seat run.
Wow.
And we sold it out. It was great, but man, we lost our shirts. It was a very expensive show. We did not make a good deal. And that was that.
Yes. So after those episodes for extended period of time with sketch comedy shows, writing, producing, and all that, then what happened to you? What year are we at right now in your life, roughly?
Roughly 2001, 2002.
Okay, so fill me in on everything from 2001 and 2 to today, and go.
Okay, well, there was a good close to 2 decades of depression.
Totally.
Where I didn't do a hell of a lot.
Yep.
Well, I did. I mean, I wrote a bunch of screenplays that didn't see the light of day. I got married, I got divorced. I dabbled in writing here and there, but really, I was my own enemy.
Sure, I get it.
Right. I say that I'm a Capricorn, but until I found the right mix of meds, I was really a Cancer to everybody.
It's funny and I get it, and it's serious.
Yeah. So then a few years ago, I started getting better and my life started getting just unbelievably better.
You started having more quality of life.
Yeah, yeah. I met the woman to whom I am now married. Thank you. Um,
How long have you been married?
uh, our 1 year anniversary was July 22nd.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, we got married on Zoom.
No.
Yes, I mean we were
That's-
together. All the guests were on Zoom.
So you had it during the pandemic where
During the
people could
pandemic.
watch and be at your wedding.
Right.
So did you consummate the marriage on Zoom?
Well, I do tell people that the bachelor party was on Pornhub.
Oh my gosh. What
Um,
was your wedding like on Zoom?
it was wonderful. You know, it was small. We did it from our kitchen, and a very dear friend of my family officiated, and you know, some friends and relatives were in the windows with, you know, their cameras on, their mics on, unlike a show on Zoom. um,
Which is better
and
for fundraising, a GoFundMe or a Zoom wedding?
um, I would say for tragedy, GoFundMe.
Totally. Yeah.
But you know, get the GoFundMe Platinum plan. It's got a much lower deductible. Uh, but
What's it like being married and being in love?
a few years ago, I had this really weird feeling, and it dawned on me that it was happiness.
Wow.
I had forgotten what that was. It's great. It's great. I am incredibly lucky.
So is she a comedian or artist?
No, I mean, she's very funny. She's a professor,
Oh, what does she teach? What
uh,
subject?
film studies
Wonderful.
at UMass.
Oh, great. Awesome.
Yeah,
How'd you meet her?
Hinge. We met online.
What is Hinge?
Hinge.
I know what unhinged is.
That's what we all are. We know so little about the human brain, but what little we do know is that it sucks.
True.
It I think it's still around. It's an app, and I don't know how it works now, but when we were using it almost 6 years ago, it was through Facebook, and it connected people through their friends. So someone that you knew was your Hinge. So we had some friends in common. We'd never met, but that's how we connected.
I love it. I'll have to go check it out.
Yeah, the thing with Facebook now, though, especially since the pandemic and for comics, is now I have thousands of friends that I don't really know.
Yeah.
Back then, it was easier to keep track of friends so that for the most part, everybody I friended, I actually knew in real life.
Yes. Absolutely. So talk to me about the first time you went to a comedy club and your comedy up to this point.
The first time I went to a comedy club
On stage.
on stage. Oh, okay. Well, my my mom took me into the city and dropped me off at Annex in the theater district in Boston. We probably had dinner at Bennigan's, which was like the Boston Fridays at the time.
Did she
And
park the car in Harvard Yard?
that would have been a very long walk.
Back to you.
Yeah. And I don't remember the being on stage part. It was 3 minutes. And I do remember the rush afterwards. I did okay. I got some laughs, probably pity laughs because, you know, I looked about 4 years old.
What age were you?
I was 17.
Wow.
And then just this amazing high for the rest of the night. More interesting was the second time I did it.
Okay.
Now, I don't know how much you know about people from Boston or the Boston comedy scene, but
Strong comics.
very strong comics,
Great writers.
very aggressive people as well.
Okay.
Very aggressive. Boston can be an aggressive town.
All right.
So, I went on, and again, I did okay. Then the host came on, and I think I know who it was. I think I remember who it was, but these are people who are still alive and, you know, legends.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to name any names because I could be wrong. But
I'll name names. Like there was, I think Eddie Brill, Kathy Ladman, Wendy Liebman came out of Boston.
absolutely, this was none of them, although I do love Wendy Liebman.
I adore her.
She was hosting the show. She was one of the people hosting the show on 80 Catch Rising Star.
Wow.
But at this time, it was, you know, an old school Boston guy, and there were a lot of drunks in the audience, and he was a little drunk too, maybe more than a little. So at this point, I'd done my set. I was, you know, in the audience, and he started going off on a heckler who, granted, probably deserved it. And the heckler was this, you know, a big barrel of a drunk who stood up and started walking toward the stage. Now, the comic on the stage, the host, just kind of upped his game and started insulting him more.
Yeah.
And the comic started moving toward the stage. And when the comic, I mean, the guy started moving, when the guy was close to the stage,
Yeah.
the comic dropped the mic and dove onto him.
Oh, Lord Almighty.
And there was a club clearing brawl. His friends, the back lane, you know, the comics in the back, just a classic movie bar fight.
Jeez.
And the police came, and as they were dragging people out, these guys were kicking each other as they were being dragged. So that was my second time.
While you were on stage, this
No,
happened?
no, I was off stage by this time.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, if it were while I was on stage,
Gosh.
I would have run when the second that guy stood up.
Portland isn't aggressive, it's passive aggressive, but I was on stage at Harvey's when a homeless guy, nothing against homeless, was aggravated at the host because the host was taunting him through the window, and the homeless guy broke a beer bottle and came in to slash everybody up while I was on stage.
You know, I gotta say, with wherewithal like that, you wonder, why is he homeless? That guy, he
I
has
never
drive.
tried to make the joke about the homeless to punch down, but this particular time, I think that the host really aggravated the guy to where he felt a need to lash out. It
Oh,
was
yeah.
like obvious taunting. Like he had the floor, everybody was watching the show in a long bunch of windows like a goldfish bowl, and he felt embarrassed, so he came in to get revenge.
Sure.
Yeah. So so you're on stage your second time and there's a brawl. Did that make you say, I don't know if this is the smartest idea I ever concocted?
Yeah, but I didn't stop.
So talk to me about your first run with comedy, and then fast forward to your second run with comedy.
I switched rooms from the downtown Boston spots, which weren't that rough. But in my mind after that, I thought, oh, maybe it's a little rough. Again, you know, what did I know? But I thought Catch a Rising Star in Harvard Square is going to be a little more civilized.
Okay.
Harvard Square, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I switched to that room.
How did that go?
Fine.
So you stayed there for a few years, and then you bowed out of comedy for personal reasons and came back. Is that correct? So
yeah, I did it a couple times in college, and I did it a couple times after college.
Okay. So
and
now
I moved to New York.
Say that?
I moved to New York after college, and I did it a couple times you know. I actually I lived with a bunch of comics when I first moved to New York. Yeah.
Was that a lot of fun?
It was a lot of fun, yeah.
Are you still in touch with, and are they still doing comedy as well?
They are. I'm not so in touch with them. I mean, every few years I'll say hi.
Yeah.
Bump into them.
Were any of them big influencers encouraging your comedy?
I don't know if they were influencers encouraging comedy. It was just, that's what we talked. You know, that we would hang out and just, it was always comedy.
Yeah. Nice. So
we would hang out at the Westway Diner.
Why don't you contrast Boston comedy to New York comedy? Did you see marked differences?
It's hard to say because I know them from very different eras.
Got it. Good point.
I mean, you know, I know Boston comedy from the 80s, late 80s, really, mid to late 80s. And then New York comedy from the, you know, mid 90s on.
I have a question about Boston.
Yeah.
So what is your pet peeve that comes up every time you tell people about your roots in Boston or Massachusetts? What is the biggest thing that people go to, their go-to about Boston or Massachusetts, that, God, could somebody learn something else?
That is racist.
Huh?
That it's racist.
What? Like the rest of America isn't?
When I was growing up in Boston, Boston is a very segregated city. It's very parochial. It's not like there are walls up, But, and granted, growing up in the 70s and 80s, I understand that, it was a racist time. But I, I think when I was a kid, there was a fairly virulent strain. I remember the busing riots.
Yeah.
And granted, I understand that was going on a lot of places in America.
Yes.
But I think and I don't believe that's the case now, but certainly when I was growing up, there was there were, I think there was maybe one or two Black families in my entire hometown.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know I grew up in the 50s in Portland,
Uh-huh.
Oregon. And if a Black person of color, whatever you want to call,
Uh-huh.
we know what we're talking about. If a person of color was
Mhm.
caught out of the area where they were deemed to live,
Mhm.
they would be arrested. They could be out of their home area to go to work and go down one street and turn right on one street and go to mostly Montgomery
Wow.
Ward, where most of them were allowed to work.
Mhm. That's scary. Yeah, look, I mean, that's the thing. Like, that said, look, the people I know with whom I grew up are, certainly some of the warmest, most accepting people I know today. So it is a pet peeve that, that is something people think about it. Uh, it's not always possible to dissuade them. Then there's the whole Boston accent thing. Then also, like the Boston comedy scene is sadly a shadow of what it was.
What?
Yeah, most of the clubs have closed.
Oh, that's too bad.
Mhm.
Because of the high cost of running a business?
Rent,
Rent. Yeah.
liquor licenses, everything.
Yeah.
I think it's coming back a little bit, but and Boston was uh, easily in the 80s one of the big centers of comedy.
Yeah.
And
It was like the Toronto of comedy.
right, yeah, and it's not anymore.
That's sad. That makes me sad.
Uh-huh.
So you stepped away from comedy, you came back, you went to New York, you had roommates who were in comedy. And
Yeah.
in your comedy career, do you have a shout out way back when to people who got you in, gave you spots, helped your career that you want to mention?
Um, I will mention people who offered opportunities that I pissed away. Sure.
Okay.
uh, I mean, people from that era, Leo Slobin, I mean, yeah, Eric Slobin and Leo Allen, Slobin and Allen, Sharon Houston, who is an LA comic who, tried to be very helpful. And uh, I don't think I've burned bridges, but I let people down, and that's what I did for many years. I just let people down.
Me too. I have a
Um,
long history of letting people down.
uh, Basically, the off-Broadway scene of the early 90s. I can thank all of them. Uh, the 42nd Street Workshop, which is now the Workshop Theater. my current writing partner, with whom I've been working since 1997.
Wow.
His name is Tim Burr. Yeah, I mean, really, people have kind of always been there for me. I mean, I'm very, very lucky for that.
Yes. Well, you're a very present person and very kind, and and so I think that's easy for you to get people on board supporting your efforts because of who you really are. So even though you've let people down, that could be a lot of truth, and it could also be a lot of self unforgiveness. I know I tend to focus on everything I did wrong, and people don't seem to remember it like I do.
Yeah, well, that's part of how our minds suck.
Yes.
But
What
no,
are the what
I'm
are the
moving forward now.
with that?
I'm moving forward now. I mean, for me, I mean, we talked about all these things in the past, but really for me, the last 5 or 6 years have just been so wonderful. And the last couple of years, especially as the apocalypse has become more apparent, my life just keeps getting better. I've been living my best pandemic.
Talk to me about the last 5 years. What has happened in your personal? I know you found a love and got married, but in your
I've been
personal.
able to deal with my depression. I found love and got married, and my wife has been so patient and so wonderful. That has certainly been a part of my recovery. I've got great friends. My job, my career has kind of taken off. Not my comedy career, but my, fake life career.
What is your day job?
I'm a creative director at an advertising agency.
Wow.
Which
You get to
I
write.
kind of
Do you
fell into it.
Do you get? I'll go into that in a second. I just want to shout something out.
Yeah.
Do you get to write funny stuff for ads?
Sometimes, yeah.
That is so cool.
Depends on the ad.
I thought it would be funny if one of my jokes got turned into an ad for an attorney law firm where,
Oh, yeah?
yeah, like the joke is something about, like huge sunny, and I'm looking for an attorney that I can pay when everything gets settled. I guess it's going to have to be a huge Sonny and Cher fan because they're pro bono. And I thought some law firm could turn that into a whole sketch.
They could, but here's what a law firm is not going to advertise: that they're pro bono.
Really? Now, see, I just learned something.
Well, pro bono means you work for free.
Well, you work for free up front, and then you get your money when it settles.
Yeah, no one's going to advertise that.
Really? A lot of them here in Vegas say there's no fee till we settle. So
But do they say pro bono?
It doesn't use the term pro
bono.
Right,
that's the problem.
I wonder why. It's the same thing.
I'm not sure legally if it is. I'm not a lawyer, but
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think in pro bono you might never have to pay.
Oh, okay.
Here's a lawyer ad that I do like a lot. There's I don't know if it's still on the subway, but there's a subway card ad, which has some hands in handcuffs, and it says the number to call when you only have one. I love that one.
That's a good one. Did you write that?
No, I didn't write that. Wish I had.
So being a creative director at an advertising company, what's your favorite thing about that job?
I get paid to make things up.
It's like being a comedian.
Yeah, but in this case, I get paid.
Wow. What's your
And
what's your favorite thing?
well, also
about-
helping people though. We
Yeah.
yeah, we could probably make more money, but we we don't take clients with whom we have any ethical problems. We take clients we want to help.
Love that.
So so it's nice when we get a client who's doing really good things.
Yeah.
It's nice to help them.
So as a creative director, you have people under you that you get to boss around?
Not really. It's a very small company.
So that's cool. So what kind of ads do you like to do, or creative directing do you like to do that's just super fun and a little challenging, kind of pushes you? Everything?
Good ones. Yeah, it entirely depends on the client and what they'll let you get away with.
All right. Well, brag to me about your accomplishments since coming on stage the second time, New York, roommates,
Well,
comedy.
we did the first phase of the New Jersey vaccine campaign.
Okay, tell me about that.
We helped the state reach its vaccine goals, its first vaccine goals 12 weeks early.
Super. So talk to me about your accomplishments in comedy. I'm
Accomplishments.
switching gears from your
Okay.
job, sorry.
No, that's fine. You know, it's hard to talk about accomplishments because I do it just because it started as a hobby. It's more than a hobby now, but thank God I don't have to make my living doing it.
Well, talk to me about the Nice Guys and the Valley of the Dolls, LOL.
Valley of the Lols.
Lols.
Yeah.
Talk to me, and the Blue Mike.
Blue Annex.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's actually another thing. I have to make a big shout out to Rampantly.
Yes.
I know that there's stuff going on, but
Yep.
I would not be here doing this without them.
Absolutely.
When
a lot of people wouldn't.
Yeah, before the pandemic, if I could get up to a mic, twice a week, that was an amazing week. And then the pandemic hit, and then Rampantly started, and I performed every night, usually multiples. I did, many other people's shows. Yep. I started my own shows. What Joey started, and then others have, contributed to.
Yep.
Is
amazing.
Yeah, definitely became one of the most important things in my life. Joey and Richard Chassler and David Parsons and Charlotte Parker and all the people who are working their asses off.
Yes.
I cannot say enough good things.
That's wonderful.
I don't do enough with them now. I do the Blue Annex, which is kind of my own thing through Rampantly. And that is a weekly joke lab where I help people punch up their bits. It's free. I'm there for 2 hours, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. You can come to me with anything, and I will do whatever I can to make it better.
That's amazing. To get your help for free. Wow.
Yeah. I hope it's worth it.
That's so awesome.
That is actually that's one of the things that I truly love doing.
That's what?
that I truly love doing. It's really become one of the best parts of my week.
That's so great. So then the Valley of the Laws, talk to me about that.
There's a club in Greenfield, Massachusetts called 10F, 10 Forward. It's mainly a music and DJ club. It's a great venue. Greenfield, Massachusetts is just west of Northampton, Massachusetts, in the Five College region, UMass and Smith and Mount Holyoke and those colleges. And there is an amazing art scene out there. There's an incredible music scene. It's where indie musicians go to retire.
Wow.
Indie rock stars go to retire. There's a great visual art scene. There's a great dance scene. One thing, it's a little weekend, is comedy. There is comedy out there, and there's some very good people, but not enough, and there's not enough venues. So I'm spending more time out in Massachusetts now and kind of craving a comedy scene. So I'm trying to do my part to help build it. So the
Wonderful.
Valley of the Wells is a Monday night show at 10 Forward. The next one is going to be September 27th.
Cool. So it's stand-up comedy shows at the Valley of the Laws.
Stand-up comedy shows at 10F in Greenfield.
Okay. And tell me about the Nice Guys show.
The Nice Guy show is, it started as an online series with Kate Hester, who is my co-producer there. She is a wonderful comic, and she is a great writer. One of my favorite people in comedy.
I love her.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the flyer, and you've got Zarna Garg. She just won a big contest.
Yeah, big fan.
And there's this guy named Aaron Ring on there. You know, he's
not as much a fan of him, but he's a pretty good host. We get wonderful comics. I mean, just they're so funny. And the whole idea was Kate and I were talking about the number of assholes in comedy. And there are a lot of them.
Yes.
But we also thought, but there's a lot of people who are really very nice and really talented. And somebody should showcase that.
Oh, that's so cool.
And so that's how we came up with the Nice Guys. Kate does all the flyers. She is also an incredible artist.
An artist in what way?
She's a visual artist.
A what?
A visual artist.
Oh. So meaning on stage as visual or on the flyer?
Oh, no, she's well, her medium in the past, she has made pictures with tape, but she's a photographer, and she studied art.
Got it. Oh,
She's
wow.
yeah.
That's super cool.
And in fact, she is now producing her own show at an art gallery. It's a comedy show.
Wow.
It's the 313 Gallery in Jersey City. And the next 313 show that Kate is doing is September 18th.
And that's Jersey City, what state?
New Jersey.
Okay, I thought so.
Right.
What do I know?
That's it. Look, I will send you all of this information, and you can send it to the masses.
Yes. And where do people follow Aaron Ring on social media? How do we help you increase your numbers?
Thank you. Well, A Stoker Ring on, and I'll spell that on Instagram. ASTOKERRING. A Stoker Ring.
All right.
Then Twitter is Aaron, AaronSR. And I'm old, so I'm on Facebook. You can always friend me on Facebook.
Super. And do you have a YouTube channel?
I do. Aaron Ring on YouTube. It's got some stand-up, it's got some commercials. A little bit of
Nice.
everything. The next Nice Guys show, and this is, I'm very excited about this. We've been doing Nice Guys shows on my roof in New York.
That's so cool. I
The,
saw it was a rooftop edition.
Yeah,
And it's free.
it's free. And not only that, but I will give you pizza and beer.
What? That's so cool.
Because what I really love to do is throw parties.
This is a hit.
So this is it's a comedy party. We gather, a bunch of our favorite comics like Zarna. And we start the show around 7. Comedy goes for a little over an hour, and then people hang out till about 10. Play
Nice.
music, eat pizza, drink. It is a lot of fun.
Super. So how are things financially, and do you want to put out a Cash App, Venmo, or PayPal or not? Do you have a need if anybody loves you to donate?
Donate to Texas.
What?
Donate to Texas.
Got it. Very good.
Donate.
Good answer.
Yeah, donate to save women's rights. Donate to help people affected by the hurricanes that are going to keep coming. I am very, very lucky to have a good job and to have a wife who has a great job.
Fabulous.
And yeah, we're doing well.
Very good. I'm so glad to hear that. And you and your extended family have made it through the pandemic unscathed, hopefully?
Not completely.
Okay. Sorry about that.
That's okay. I mean, everyone's alive.
Mm-hmm.
But my niece, and this happened when she was, like 11, 12 years old. Not even the Delta variant. This is, the first go around. Something happened and she lost her ability to swallow.
Wow.
For 6 months. She was a really skinny kid. She lost a ton of weight, had to be on a feeding tube.
Yep.
Nightmarish. So scary.
No particular reason why that happened, and has it turned around yet?
Yeah, she's okay now. I mean, it was something to do with the virus.
Wow. Just affected her that way.
Yeah, well, it affects people in weird ways.
Exactly.
Right, and we don't know how it affects, completely affects kids yet. So here's the thing. All of this, I don't want to wear mask bullshit. I don't want to get vaccinated bullshit. Grow the fuck up.
Unless you're like me and you're deadly allergic to the shot. If the shots would kill you, that's it.
Yeah, right. If you're like Linda, don't get the shot.
Yeah.
But please be careful.
Thank you.
Because I would hate for anything to happen to Linda. So don't get her sick.
Yeah, and I could die getting the COVID.
Right.
And I'm older and I'm compromised. So, I'm not exactly real happy these days. This is putting me in, like, wear your masks and get your shots if you can, because like people like me can't be protected.
Yeah. So, I mean, the fact that it's been politicized is very frustrating.
Very.
At the very least, the mRNA vaccines are such an incredible advancement.
Yep.
I mean, we should be excited about this and about the future of medicine. And instead, people are bending over backwards to not take it. And
Last month, 9 of my 12 relatives, I have 12 living relatives,
Mhm.
9 of them had the variant.
yeah, I mean,
Hasn't been a good time for me.
no, I'm so sorry. This should not be happening.
Yeah. But a lot of people had it much worse and they got the first round and didn't make it.
That's true. It's true. But this shouldn't be happening now. We should be getting vaccinated and we should be beating this thing.
Yes, I
And
agree
we
with
should
you. Well, I'm not saying it from political reasons,
Uh-huh.
and yet I agree with you.
Yeah,
Just ethically, I believe it is an
Yeah, I'm not-
ethical thing. I believe. I don't care about anybody else. I wish everybody would, but I can't control what others do, unfortunately. If I had a magic wand, I
Yeah.
could control.
uh-huh.
So will you please, Aaron, as we're closing out this lovely 1 hour and 20-minute interview, would you
I
do me
wish
a
I were
favor?
funnier. I wish I'd been funnier for you, Linda.
Will you do me a favor and
Of
send
course.
me all your social media?
Yeah.
And all your upcoming dates and places where you'll
Uh-huh.
be. If you'll just type those in the messenger so I can cut and paste and not make errors with my brain injury.
Absolutely. Into the Facebook Messenger.
Yes.
Of course.
What do you have to say to people as we exit? You get to do your exit.
Okay. Well, here's a bit of advice, guys. Remember, it's not work if you love being exploited.
Totally true. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That was from Aaron Ring, you guys. And again, thank you so much, Aaron Ring, for taking your time to come back on my show. You can go to YouTube, comedian Linda Marcus Smith, and you can see the original interview. But this one is totally different than the last one. Every time I do something, it's going to be totally different. Trust me.
Can I say one more thing?
What?
Can I say one more thing?
Yes.
Two more. Guys, Nice Guys show. If you're in New York, great show. And importantly, if you're working on jokes at any level, and they need any help, or you think they could be a little funnier, or you just have an idea and you don't know how to turn it into a joke, come to the Blue Annex. It's free. I put the links up on the Rampantly Comedians page and also on Hot Breath and on my personal page. It's on Zoom and I am there from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Drop in when you want.
Wonderful.
Monday night.
That's so awesome. And will you come on my military to military show and tell some clean jokes for my military audience that I send it to?
I would be honored.
I would love that. I think they would love you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, you guys. That's Aaron Ring's second interview, round 2. Isn't he amazing? You guys, he's going to give us his links so we can follow him and help his career. That's the whole point of Comic Spot. Thank you so much, Aaron Ring. I love you, and I'll talk to you on Facebook.
Love you, Linda.
Love you. Bye.